Okay, so Bill, what the hell do you think of this project anyway so far?
So here we are looking at Bruce Schwab's, how many square meters is it? 30 square meter. And it used to have a nice beautiful keel on it that looked very pretty. It is now being redesigned here with some kind of a Bruce Schwab contraption. I'm not sure whether the guy is a genius or a complete nutcase, but it certainly looks a little weird, but only time will tell just how this whole thing is going to work out. And sincerely hope for Bruce that it's going to be what he expects it to be. How come things are going a little slow here for Bruce? He's trying to get ready for this week racing, I guess, to see if it's going to work. But you have to admit that this is very, very, very unique. And all boats from now on may look like this if it works. But then again, I don't know. I know that when he gets out in the ocean and the dolphins and the whales are going to probably get scared stiff because they've never seen anything like it. So hope it all holds up and hope it all works for you, Bruce.
Okay, here we are. This is the first electronics on my masthead ever, and Will's been helping me out put this stuff on there.
I thought you were doing it.
No.
How's this for clearance here? Just barely makes it.
Let me zoom in and I'll take a look here. Oh, is clearance on the wand there? Or the
Yeah, no, yeah, this is just on the
Windex there?
Windex.
Hey, as long as it doesn't hit it.
Yeah, no, it's good.
That'll do it.
316.
Might be a little wind resistance there. So Will's been helping me out here, donating some of his time to put my electronics in my mast, which I was reluctant to do because I can't add that much weight to my mast without feeling funky about it. This is a new halyard restrainer. It's a guide for my masthead spinnaker halyard. That's going to take some load. This is the latest and greatest VHF antenna. Very small, very light. I might give up a little bit of performance from that, but it's very light. That is a strobe anchor light. I'm leaving the anchor light unhooked. I'm just going to have the strobe that's required. And we'll go down the mast and look at some of the other features on here while we're at it. Okay. Stop. Okay, here we are with the jumper struts. I've beefed these things up a little bit, and I've added a little strut in between there to make sure you have to bend them both. It adds a fair bit of strength to stiffen them up. The jumper wires I've upgraded to 5/32, since I'll be carrying the masthead spinnaker a whole lot more. We will be adding an extra safeguard to the fractional spinnaker hide, which you can see just above the head stay hanging there. That'll be added on. I'm working on down the rig here. You can see my Spectra runner dangling there. Mike shortened that for me today. It's a special Spectra runner that's hooked onto a ring for the instead of that's actually a wire fitting that we cut off and swedged the ring to. Carson swedged it on there. And those are becoming more popular for racing. The Spectra runner is a lot lighter than a wire one. It's pretty handy. Let's see here. How's this thing stop recording? Let's hit stop. This is the lower tang of the jumper, which has been beefed up. I put a bigger tang in there since I increased the wire size. Give it a little bit better grip on the mast. It's held in there with a whole bunch of rivets, or mostly shear strength, since it's mostly under shear strength. Make it quite strong. Here we are at the upper spreaders. You can see I have that black anodized aluminum bar going across. That's to stiffen the spreaders and reduce the amount of wiggling. It's fastened in the middle of the spreader instead of the front, which gives it a slightly better angle of attack from the front. This prevents the spreaders from moving virtually at all. It makes them very rigid. The spreader bar that's in there is quite strong, but this gives me a little prevention of wear. The bar doesn't wiggle, so it doesn't cut a bigger hole in the mast as it wiggles around, which spreader bars tend to. You got a little too fast here.
Huh.
So I hope it'll stick. I'm going to say, oh, I'm going to wash it down over there. Going off the fair. Parts of the
Gonna crank that? Oh, you're just moving that out of the way. Huh?
Yeah, I'm cranking up again over here after I finish this side. I'm going to...
Gonna be on that side over there?
yeah, I just coated the top part. I've got to coat the keel now. Seems like I'm out here every night now. I've been living out here.
How many days straight, Bruce, I wonder?
Yeah, I don't even know. Here till 9 o'clock last night.
And Saturday night in the rain?
Yeah, Saturday night in the rain. Out here at the heater trying to create summer.
Yeah.
But it's happening on schedule.
Good.
It's not impossible, just almost.
Yep. This is the final coat right here? This has...
Final coat for tonight. Yeah, this is just trying to seal it up with resin so it won't get any water in it.
Yeah.
When I take a sailing this weekend. Then we'll sand it down and do more fairing on it later next week.
Uh-huh.
Pull it back out of the water. But I can't wait to go sailing, and this is a pretty important race, so...
See how it acts, huh?
Also, no one's going to believe that we're going to be out there anyway. So that's half the reason I do this.
Yeah.
If I wasn't, but you know, if I wasn't here at Spencer's, it would be totally impossible to do this because we got everything equal.
Yeah.
Totally impossible. Anywhere else in the world. All the welding that Karsten and Jeff and JD did on this thing. And the whole gang pouring the keel, pouring this bolt through is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wish we'd got that on tape.
Yeah. I was basically the guinea pig for the keel pour on the Azura.
Uh-huh.
You know, they practiced on me. Figuring no big loss. Screwed that up.
That was pretty exciting.
That was very exciting.
Yeah.
And then everyone just thinking, telling me that I was crazy. This was never going to be done in time. And we were determined to do it, of course.
Yeah. Okay. You're on.
The hard part when the second coat of epoxy is trying to see where the hell you are. Putting clear on clear.
Yeah.
So, you know, where'd you stop or where'd you start? Tried this little bit of this additive to this coat here to make the slightly gray. See a little bit.
Just for coloring purposes?
Well, it's supposed to I don't know what it is. It looks like aluminum powder to me, but it's supposed to be help provide a better moisture barrier.
Uh-huh.
Is
Is it like the final barrier coat, or this is it?
Well, no, there'll be, when I fair it, I'll put on a couple of coats of thick high build epoxy and sand that down. But this is that provides the water barrier layer beneath the paint in case the paint ever gets knocked off.
Uh-huh.
But I'll put on several coats of thick paint and sand. And this seals it, but it's really pretty thin and isn't much good for fairing.
Uh-huh.
When I go to fair it, I need those more high build stuff. The basic big picture shape is there. You know, that's the funny thing about glassing something is that you have to make it all fair, you do all this fairing, then you glass it, and then you have to do it all over again. Because when you glass it, it gets all messed up. But if you don't have the basic shape right, then when you sand it when it's glassed.
Yeah. Looking good. This about it for tonight, this final coat here?
Let's get this final coat on here after this side and do the bulb. I told Gina I'd be home at 8. And she probably doesn't believe that because I've been late for every night for weeks now.
Yeah.
But at least she doesn't wait up for me for dinner anymore.
Well, I hope the dinner is hot and waiting in the oven for you.
She says she'd leave a sweet potato on the counter for me.
Oh, boy.
But, that's okay. There's nothing I can complain.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll pick you up in a couple of days here, or maybe tomorrow night, see what's happening.
Okay.
Well, what are you going to do tomorrow night on this?
Probably just whisk it down, sand it a little bit, make sure it's got all the nits and tints off of it. If I have time, maybe I'll put another coat of epoxy on it. We'll see.
Good. Okay, I'll pick you up tomorrow night. You want me to film? What do you want me to film?
I don't know. Say some smart-ass comments there, Wade.
Karsten?
This,
Karsten, want to get a picture of me?
There you go.
What do you have in the stern for lifeline setup? A black hole bit?
No, it's going to be
Bruce, I need to go to work. I need to go back to work. Here, you do it. Eli, here. It's on. Take some pictures. Just, yeah, just point it around and take some pictures, okay?
Camera! All right, going down. Don't drop that thing.
Brucey's in the water. Got this damn boat out of the yard.
No narrating, huh?
Huh?
Yeah, you heard me.
All right.
day to have the boat in the water. It's all swung up.
Time. How long have I been working on this thing now? For about 4 more months or something? This for this new keel? Yeah. It's crazy. What are you going to use for power to get around? I'm going to sail. Sail around? Yeah. That's right. Just going to get this out of the way here. Unroll the jib. Just give me, you want to just hold me there for a minute? No. You're going to have to put that down, sir. I think you see that button.
Stop button?
I think you just... Some video stuff here. My name is Bruce Schwab. This is my boat Rumbleseat, getting ready for the Singlehanded Transpac race. Thought we'd document some of my ideas on here and things that we used. Talk about some of that stuff. I'll be racing starting June 29th on the race. Various competitors, including Eric, who's holding the camera right now. And this boat was built in 1930 and was restored over about 13 years of work by myself and a bunch of friends and folks at Svensson's, and decided to finally take it on a race to Hawaii. For no particular reason, I guess. Anyway, of all the modifications that we've done on this boat to prepare for this race, aside from a lot of crazy things we're done with it to start with, it has a new keel, which of course you can't see right now. Has a new jib furler, a new dodger, new solar panels, stanchions, lifelines, all kinds of stuff. We'll look at some of this stuff in a little more detail and kind of point out the way we did some of it so we can show some of our ideas. Okay, this is the front of Rumbleseat. That's my special armor-piercing bow piece in case anyone gets in the way to start. This crazy gizmo that you see here is an articulating bowsprit that I use to tack the asymmetrical kite to, so I can jibe the spinnaker from the cockpit without having to go forward. Which is a real treat for short-handed racing if you have to jibe a lot. I decided to use this instead of symmetrical spinnakers because of the added ease of jibing, and also the sail's a little bit better reaching, which hopefully will have some reaching going on. This tubing here is actually carbon fiber. It's made by Disneyland for the Lion King Act in Disneyland. And I was able to scam some of that as long as I didn't mind the paint job, which I love, so that's where that came from. Everyone thinks it's wood, so that's kind of a secret weapon. This bow pulpit structure was built by Jeff Daniels in the rail shop at Svensson's. It's designed to be the pulpit for the lifelines, in addition to being the support structure for this bow pulpit. It takes a lot of load. There's a post underneath that goes all the way down to the king plank of the boat, and this is heavy aluminum. We used aluminum instead of stainless in order to get enough strength without getting excessively heavy. All the caps are made out of aluminum. Little gooseneck fittings here. We have little fast pins. I can yank this out and remove it if I want to. This is a Harkin unit. Moving our way back here, this is a Harkin unit 0 furler, Mark II, newest style. Harkin gave me a great deal on this course because I sell lots of their furlers. And this works great with my roller furling jib, which maybe perhaps I'll demonstrate that in a moment and show you how that works. Okay, this is my new 125 jib. This is made by UK Sales. It's a tape drive, which is Kevlar tapes on a Technora reinforced base fabric. The sail is unusual in a couple ways. It has a full-length batten running here all the way up to the head to support the roach in the head. The sail has a roach in the head, which gives it a little bit more wing-like shape. And also, when I reef it on the furler, if I have to go to a smaller sail, the roach gives it a longer luff shape once it's reefed, a higher aspect ratio. The full-length batten essentially provides some higher tension at the reef position, which helps prevent the wrinkles from compression as you roll the sail up that most furled sails get. It has an aeroluff feature on the front. The aeroluff allows the middle of the sail to roll up first, pulling the draft down the middle of the sail. The luff tape is cut away inside here, and it's not all fed into the foil. So as the foil turns, the tack can release, avoiding an overly full sail when you're reefed. It helps to flatten the sail out. Works quite well. It makes changing the sail difficult, but the idea, of course, is not to have to change it. I'll reef the sail from the cockpit to give you an idea of what it looks like reefed. When it's windy, the sail will unwind and tighten up on here quite a bit. The double swivel will allow this to unwind and get a good shape, so it's not very tight right now. I won't reef it unless it's quite windy. But with the roach that we had in the head up there, we didn't lose nearly as much area in the head of the sail as we would have if it had been a regular triangular sail. The roach in there works quite well. We also have some long battens in the leech in the head to keep the head leech from flopping around. This is a real advantage in short-handed racing since I never change jibs. I just roll it up, and by the time my competitors finish their jib changes, they're out of the picture. We're going to roll this thing on there. Okay. Number of features here. This is a custom-built mast step that we made here at Svenson's. Handles all running all my halyards back to the cockpit. Lots of ropes here. I can hardly remember what all of them are, but I'll start with this. My spinnaker pole butt car. This is using my fractional spinnaker, which I use in heavy weather. This end-for-end loop goes back to the cockpit, and I can control the height of the pole from the cockpit, so I don't need to go forward and mess with that. It's a Harkin ball bearing car, so I can move it under load. It rolls real nice. Some of the changes that I've made, there's going to be some reinforcement wires run here to the gooseneck to keep the lower section from moving side to side. A lot of masts have a lot of problem with movement from compression of a bang under load that people don't notice, and a lot of masts have problems there. So before I go on the Transpac, I'm going to install a couple of wires there to stabilize the lower section of the mast. Up the rig, some of the additions I've had for the single-handed race are these little black stiffener bars on the spreaders to keep them from working at the bases. They provide some additional stiffness. Some radar reflectors. You can't see it from here, but the jumper wires have been up to size to handle the masthead spinnaker, which provides a lot of load at the masthead. I've raked the rig forward for better downwind performance. For downwind, the further forward you can get the rig, the better. Upwind, it's better to have it back, but on the way to Hawaii, hopefully we won't have much upwind work. And so I've shortened my head stay a couple times and brought the rig forward for that. I have full battens in the mainsail, three full battens, which stabilize it and help keep it from flopping. It allows you to feather the sail a little bit more instead of reefing the sail sometimes. I have little cat slider receptacles on there. Seem to work pretty well. I use slides on the mainsail instead of rope luff, so that when I lower the sail, it stays in the mast, which is convenient for turn-headed sailing, so it doesn't wind up all over the deck. Let's see here. Moving back, I have a Hallspark quick vang, which is a spring-loaded vang. It holds the boom up, so that it stays wherever you set it. You pull it down with the purchase, but the spring-loaded feature will keep it from going up, which means you need a topping lift. You can just let go of the halyard when you want to reef, and the boom just stays there. It doesn't go falling down on the deck. That's made by Hall Spars. I made a new boom, which you can't see very well here. We'll go to the back and I'll show you some features on that. Okay, this is my new boom I made for the Transpac race here. It's anodized black, even though the mast is painted white. Anodizing holds up a little bit more durable. The booms take a lot of salt water pickling and corrosion, so I opted to anodize it for longevity over cosmetic decisions. Instead of using metallic bales or regular sheet bales on here, I use Spectra straps, which are very, very strong and easily replaced. I am very lightweight. The boom likes those. In order for simplicity, I have just Spectra webbing around for the outhaul. No outhaul car. That's very simple. Spectra outhaul line. There's no wire anywhere on the boom. It's all Spectra line, which avoids corrosion and avoids weight and avoids scraping around. There's almost no wire anywhere on the boat now. Everything is all Spectra. I have a 3-to-1 main sheet, which doesn't seem like much, but it works just fine with a fine-tune arrangement here. And I pull it in, and then I use the fine-tune to do it in the end. That works out real well. My reef lines run forward, down to the deck, back underneath the Dodger, so I control all the reefing from the cockpit. I do need to go forward to put the hook in the luff, but that only takes a second, so that works fine. That's pretty much it for my boom. There's a lot of lines here. This might be kind of confusing, but I'll just go over this stuff. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is my main sheet Traveler. This is a Harkin windward sheeting car. One nice feature of this is that when the main is off to one side, you can pull it up, it automatically uncleats the leeward side, so you don't have to crawl down there to get it. Of course, on a skinny boat like this, it's not very far away. A little bit overkill, but it's a nice feature. It's nice having the cleat on the car. Many of my control lines run back here from the bowsprit. This is what my centering line for the bowsprit, which I use. I have little guide lines that you use to swing the bowsprit from side to side as I jibe it from the cockpit. Works quite well. I've done jibe several times, many times with that. Right down the estuary, I can single-handed jibe a big spinnaker down the estuary by myself. Sometimes a little exciting on the jibes, but it beats trying to jibe a 50-foot pole, that's for sure. These are my running backstay arrangement. It has a fine tune and a coarse tune. The coarse tune is on these. That's a 2-to-1. And then I have a fine tune at the back of the cockpit here. It gives me lots of purchase to give me head stay tension on there. When you go into attack, you blow the fine tune, and you blow the coarse tune, let off the windward side. If you look at my tiller, you can see a lot of strange gadgets here. Since everyone told me that the autopilots always quit working as soon as they get wet, I mounted the autopilot below decks. That's an Auto Helm 4000T, driving a lever assembly that drives this push-pull cable. It's a regular truck-style push-pull cable made by Brad Clark at California Push-Pull. And that actuates the tiller so that the autopilot never has to get wet. It's down below in a nice, safe place. And I can take this off when I need to by popping this little bungee cord and then just knocking that down and until I'm back to the tiller as I need to. If I'm doing a lot of off-wind steering and the Traveler's down to the side for downwind sailing, my tiller extension snaps forward into the tiller so I can steer sitting up in the cockpit as far forward as the companionway when I extend this out, which is good because my single sideband radio sends the autopilot reeling and I have to drive while I talk on the radio. Fortunately, I don't think I'm the only one with that problem, so at least that's an equalizer. I have a single sideband antenna on the backstay. Comes out a little hole back there. Goes up to my backstay wire. Those are custom-made insulators for 1/8-inch wire by Alexander Roberts. And the radio seems to work quite well. The first person we talked to is in Missouri, and I've been getting the WeatherFax pictures off there. It's been real pleasant. The only bad thing about the radio is when you transmit with it, it irradiates everything. External GPS antenna. This runs my little Garmin 75 down in the chart table. It picks up much faster this way and less interference than having the antenna down there. This is a custom stern pulpit which was added to the boat. This was also built by Jeff Daniels, who built the bow pulpit, my Dodger frame. Did a fine job. I'm pretty happy with that. I may rig up some seats here so I have a place to sit, but that's not done yet. The solar panels are done by Unisolar. I bolted them down to make sure that they can't go anywhere. I will have 4 of those, these 3, and there is one on top of the Dodger, up by the companionway. That's the Dodger frame that was built by Jeff Daniels, and the canvas work was done by Margaret at Hogan Sales. And I have the cover on there now. I'll have a nice window underneath that cover which I can look through. Pretty much live underneath the Dodger and very rarely stick your head out from underneath there if you can help it. Oh, one thing I forgot to tell you was that, I had mentioned that all my halyards are Spectra, not wire. This is what it looks like. If you look carefully here, this is a spliced single braid Spectra that's doubled up around the main halyard shackle and is sealed with a material called Maxi Jacket. It's a paint that we soak the rope with, makes it almost indestructible. This way, with the splice, it's doubled up over the main halyard sheave. This Spectra here, 1/4 inch, which weighs almost nothing, has a breaking strength of, I think it's 8,000 pounds. So chances of it breaking are very slim. No wire to scratch the paint. Like this stuff a lot. It's great. Okay, well, this is where I'm going to spend a lot of time standing. How I decided the height of the Dodger is fairly apparent. This is my one place in the boat that has standing headroom, and this is where I hang out. On my qualifier, I spent a lot of time here watching water crash over this plastic here, and it worked. I hardly got any water in the boat at all after 4 days of thrashing and maybe 2 cups. So overall, the boat's fairly watertight. Also, it makes it a lot warmer when you don't have the wind hitting you in the face. I have my autopilot controls right here that run the 4000T. I can make my course corrections in there as need be. A knot meter and log are over here, which supplement the information from the GPS, which is down below. All my halyard controls are in here. I just have 2 winches, control all the halyards, just real small 1-speed winches, and most of my halyard loads are very low with a fractional rig. The spinnakers and jibs are very small, which is one reason why I like a fractional rig. I don't need big winches to grind up the halyards or grind up the sails. Just little old easy lock stoppers. These are the old style, but I bought them when I started restoring the boat, and 10 years later when I finished it, they were still like new, so rather than buy more, I used them, and they've been working just fine. I guess that's about it for right here. Well, here we are. You're looking down the companionway hatch here into the tiny abode of Rumbleseat. Very small in here. The boat's very narrow. Price you pay for slenderness and ease of handling, I suppose. But these boats were never designed for a lot of room. This interior is all pretty much new, or built a few years ago. The boat was completely torn apart when I restored it. And had all this put in here. The cabin was all varnished while the boat was upside down when we reskinned the outside. All the hardware and black backing for all the stoppers and winches is all custom made. The electronics have all been added. Everything was done from scratch. Since the space was so limited and I had to have a chart table, I couldn't figure out where to put it. For a while it looked like I wouldn't have one. Then we came up with this idea, and we built the chart table up here. So, when I need the chart table, it comes down from the overhead like this, locks into place, and I have a couple little laptop computers down here. This is mine, and this was loaned to me by Eric Youngeman, which hopefully I won't wreck on the race. And I use this to receive the weatherfax maps off of the single sideband radio, so I can get little pictures of the satellite pictures of the weather and the weather maps from the Coast Guard, and try and guess which way we're supposed to go in the ocean and what the weather's going to be. Hopefully I won't have too much information and just screw things up. I have added little cabin lights here. I love these little ones that turn to point to where we need to go. I have an energy monitoring system that allows me to keep track of the power drain and the input of the solar panels and what my battery level is, so I know whether or not I should be driving or continue to use the autopilot, or whether or not to put up the generator and give an extra boost on the charge. That's very convenient. Lem Dow of LTD Marine helped me hook all that up. and it works great. Okay, here we are. This is the bilge. If I don't know if I mentioned it, I have a new keel, which is a bulb keel, which is set much deeper in the water than the old traditional keel, so the leverage is considerable. In order to make certain that there was no problems in the bilge or flexing of the hull, we doubled up the number of floor timbers. This is new, this is new, this is new, this is new. Of course, the old ones we beefed up also, and put in all new keel bolts, stiffened everything up, everything's sealed in epoxy, and the outside of the old keel was cut off as shallow as we could, and that was all glassed up, so we made no compromises here for strength. The bilge of the boat is stronger than pretty much almost any boat out there. I'm pretty confident that I shouldn't have any problems in here. Sure.
Go.
Well, I originally thought I might be able to make a nice little bunk out of the forward part of the boat. So I deck stepped the mast, which also makes sure there's no leaking. This is a special custom-made beam across here to help ensure that the deck doesn't collapse from the mast compression. I may sleep up here a little bit, but it's a little bit cramped. Most of my sleeping will be done here in this bunk, where I have a new lee cloth, which I can set up these bungee cords here when I decide to take a nap, and this will keep me from rolling around. That should be good enough. However, I can sleep up forward if I need to. We'll see how that works out. The boat goes on for a long way up there, since the boat's 39 feet long, but it's a bit of a crawl. I won't spend too much time up there. Well, I got this boat in, gosh, I think it was 1981. I had traded a half share of a Santana 22 for it. It was pretty dilapidated, had some worms in the planks, and all the frames were broken. The former owner used to sail it with a bilge pump switch underneath each weather cockpit rail, so he could flip on the bilge pump on the weather rail while he was racing. It leaked a lot. It had been built in 1930. It's on its third deck, I think, when I got it. But I started tearing it apart and kept tearing it apart for a long time. And eventually wound up replacing the entire deck, a lot of the interior, tearing out all the sister frames, and wound up wet assisting the entire boat with epoxy, sealed the whole thing. Eventually we went so far as to flip the boat upside down, bare it, remove the keel, and laminate this layer of 1/8" Port Orford cedar on the outside, which I drove to Oregon and selected, glued that on there, put a skin of 6-ounce cloth, epoxied that, flipped the boat right side up. Before we put this on, all the seams were sawed out and had spruce splines glued in, glued the seams together. Those are all sanded down inside. Had to have the deck off because there's no way you can climb in here. It's so skinny. The deck has to be off for you to do that work. Moved the rudder from the back of the keel, put a spade rudder on it, and built myself a new rig, the old wood mast, pretty well shot. And eventually I just used the boat as a showpiece for all the craftsmanship of the people that work at Spence's and myself to make everything really nice. They didn't know really what to rate me on this thing when after I got close to finishing it to go sailboat racing. The original rating on 30 square meters, which is what it is, or was 150 PHRF. After all my modifications, they dinged me 18 seconds a mile and came up with 132, which worked out fairly well for short-handed racing, real well. In crude racing, wasn't quite as good. It was a little weak upwind pointing and a little weak downwind and light air because of the small sail plan. But the boat was great short-handed, great reaching, and great heavy weather. And I learned that it was really fast downwind when the wind blew hard, and so I got it into my head to take it into single-handed Transpac race, which is a lot of downwind work. I've done the Transpac a couple times. I knew the boat would be good in that if I had more sail area. So when I decided to do the race, I cut the old keel off, made a new bulb keel, which is something I've been thinking about for a long time, with less ballast, but lowered it down the water so the boat was just as stiff. That worked out real well. Jim Antrim, the designer, helped me with some of that, and basically my ideas. He did the drawings for me. So we had the bulb keel, and then I switched to masthead spinnakers, this articulating bowsprit, and then I applied for another rating, which of course aroused some suspicion. But the way we decided to do it, I wrote a letter to the PHF committee suggesting that they would ding me 6 seconds a mile for the keel, 6 seconds for the masthead kites, and 6 seconds for the articulating, as a penalty for the articulating pole, because that is an advantage. They penalize, which is another 18 seconds a mile, which changes me from 132 to 114 from an original rating of 150. Well, they didn't have much better data to go on than what I had to offer, so they said that sounded good to them, and they went ahead and did that, and it seems to have been worked out fairly accurate. The boat is definitely better in where I was weak before, which is light air downwind. Upwind and light air, it's about the same, but in heavy weather with the new keel, it definitely seems to be faster, and I should be able to sail to my rating without too much trouble. For the Transpac race, I switched from the 155 to the 125 jib you saw earlier, which gives me another 6 seconds a mile credit, which most of the Ocean, Transpac, and Pacific competitors are doing. So my rating, base rating for the race is now 120. However, with the PCR, another rating feature that is made for the Pacific Cup and Transpac races, my rating, I believe, will be 127. Everyone's ratings, but some boats get a credit as large as 30 seconds a mile or more if they look slow downwind according to their numbers. My rating doesn't change very much. Most of the ultralights don't change very much. Some of the heavy boats get enormous credit. Whether it's enough or not, and how all this rating stuff works out, we'll find out. But basically, the boat will get to Hawaii pretty darn fast for a boat that you can sail by yourself, and it's as easily driven as this, which is what I need to show with this kind of a boat. I'm a real fan of fractional rigs and the easily driven skinny hull for short-handed sailing. It should be a lot of fun.
Here comes Rumbleseat, headed down to the Corinthian race. I'm trying to steer and shoot some video here. She looks beautiful. See if I can zoom in on her. Not the clearest picture I've ever taken.